Have you ever noticed how easily our priorities can slip? We start with the best intentions, but slowly, what matters most gets pushed aside for what feels urgent in the moment. This was exactly the challenge God's people faced in 520 BC, when the prophet Haggai delivered a wake-up call that would transform their community. Picture Jerusalem in the aftermath of exile. The Persian king Cyrus had allowed the Jewish people to return home after 70 years in Babylon. They arrived full of hope and enthusiasm, ready to rebuild their lives and their temple. But something went wrong along the way. The people started strong, laying the temple foundation with celebration. But then opposition arose, and their focus shifted. Instead of persevering, they turned their attention to building luxurious homes for themselves. The temple of God lay in ruins while they installed fancy paneling in their own houses. Enter Haggai, God's messenger with perfect timing. His words cut straight to the heart. Is it time for you yourselves to dwell in paneled houses while this house lies in ruins? The people claimed it wasn't the right time to rebuild God's temple, but they had found plenty of time to upgrade their own homes. Haggai pointed out the uncomfortable truth about their situation. Despite their nice houses and hard work, they never had enough. They planted much but harvested little. Their wages disappeared as if they were putting them into bags with holes. Why? Because they had forgotten to put God first. The prophet's message was clear. Their economic troubles and agricultural struggles weren't just bad luck. These were consequences of misplaced priorities. Consider your ways, Haggai declared. He challenged them to go up to the mountains, bring down timber, and rebuild the temple. God promised that he would take pleasure in it and be glorified. What happened next was remarkable. Unlike many prophetic stories where the people ignored God's message, this time they listened. The leaders, Zerubbabel the governor and Joshua the high priest, took action. Within 23 days of Haggai's first message, the work on the temple resumed. But the story doesn't end there. As the people began working, some elderly members who remembered Solomon's magnificent temple became discouraged. The new structure seemed insignificant in comparison. Yet God sent another message through Haggai. The glory of this present house will be greater than the glory of the former house. And in this place I will grant peace. The Lord also addressed Zerubbabel personally, promising to make him like a signet ring, a symbol of authority and honor. This was God's way of affirming his ongoing commitment to the line of David, despite the exile and current Persian rule. In just 4 months, Haggai delivered 4 powerful messages that transformed the community's priorities and reignited their spiritual purpose. The temple was completed 4 years later, standing as a testament to what happens when people align their priorities with God's will. This ancient story speaks powerfully to us today. How often do we postpone spiritual priorities while pursuing personal comfort? Like those returning exiles, we too can find ourselves investing in temporary things while neglecting what truly matters. The message of Haggai reminds us that true prosperity isn't just about personal success. It's about putting God's purposes first. When we align our priorities with God's will, we often discover that everything else falls into place. The people's obedience led to God's promise. From this day on, I will bless you. Their story challenges us to examine our own lives. What temples are we neglecting while building our own paneled houses? What divine purposes have we set aside for personal pursuits? Perhaps it's time for us like those ancient Jews, to consider our ways and realign our priorities with God's calling.